Greetings, JP.WATKINS. Thank you for joining Personal Gov. And this is our top 2 touch points. And today it's going to be about find yourself, love yourself. May seem like it's the same thing in some cases. It is. So we're going to look at define yourself. Well, let's think about that again. I want you to love yourself. It's so important. A lot of people that I coach, they are challenged in loving themselves. They have low self-esteem, low self-worth, low self-value. And they feel isolated. They feel alienated. And I know that feeling all too well. And I think, if you live long enough, at some point in time in your life, you're going to be depressed. But before we can even get into the whole point of loving yourself, sometimes we got to learn how to find ourselves. Sometimes we lose ourselves, right? You get married, you fall in love, you fall out of love, you get divorced. Now all of a sudden, your identity has morphed into the us. It was always about us. It was always about this. And now all of a sudden, it's you alone. And you're wondering, how can I get over this? How can I get through this? Or a lot of times, it's not even that hopeful. It's, I'm never going to get through this. I can't get through this. Lost the love of my life. Or I lost the job. I lost my career. The storm may be different for each person. Some people, it may be like they've been diagnosed with a terrible illness. Or they found out that a loved one has been diagnosed with a terminal illness. So a lot of times we lose ourselves because we don't know what to do. We don't know where to go. And a lot of times we just feel so hopeless and so helpless. So I want you to ask yourself, how can I find myself? Who am I? What is my purpose in life? What do you want out of life? Seriously. And I want you, and I ask you to just think about, what can I say? How can I gently agitate myself to think a little differently? Because a lot of people I've coached, they just unplug. They just like, I'm helpless, I'm hopeless, I'm worthless, I give up. I just want to ask you just to tweak it a little bit. How can I be strong? Ask yourself, how can I be strong? How can I find myself? How can I discover my purpose? What am I good at? What do I enjoy doing? What do people like about me? What do people compliment about me? And I know that negative person, I seen a post the other day that made a lot of sense. It said you have to be weary of negative people because they will find a problem for every solution. And that's so true. So a lot of times when you're looking in a mirror, you're looking at potentially one or two things. You're looking at a solution, or you could be looking at a problem. It's the power of perception, right? So I want you to take the day and ask yourself, how can I find myself? How can I discover my purpose? And then, once you find yourself, once you start tapping into, hey, I'm really good, I'm really creative, I'm really inspiring, I'm really good with my hands. Whatever it is that's your natural gift, then I'm going to ask you, start having deep appreciation to love yourself. A lot of times we want other people to love us, but how can people have a deep appreciation for us when we sit around and we don't have a deep appreciation for ourselves? When we sit around tearing ourselves down, tearing ourselves up. And a lot of times we can be an emotional drain on people. Sitting around being negative, sitting around talking about how miserable our lives is, how pathetic we are, how pitiful this situation is. And a lot of times we'll start to be that person that people will avoid because we will suck the life out of them. We will suck the life out the room. So I want you to start being the light in the room. And to do that, you have to fall in love with yourself. You have to be willing to love yourself and give yourself some credit and stop being so hard on yourself. And it's not going to be an overnight process. It's simple once we start thinking differently. It's not easy, but It's simple when you got to say, look, how can I change my life? How can I change my mood? First of all, you got to adjust your mindset. If you're going through depression, even if you're experiencing some emotional crisis, mental illness, only you can get to that place where you say, well, man, you know what? I can't do this alone. Well, even the accepting help, asking and accepting help, that's one of those inner resources that I touch on. So I want you to start asking, A, how can I find myself? And B, how can I learn how to love myself? So I want you to consider um, looking into, some YouTubers, looking at, like I say, Lois Hay has been very inspiring. I also like Dr. Miles Monroe. He's more in the spiritual space. It's so many people, so many resources. So even look at documentaries. Look at other people's stories. I love documentaries. I learned how other people overcame. And although their situation may not be identical to yours, there may be some similarities. But we have to look for solutions rather than look for problems. So I hope that that's been helpful. And I hope that today, right now today, that you'll take the time and you'll write down, how can I find myself? How can I discover my purpose? How can I dig down in there and learn how to have a deeper appreciation for myself? And if you have mastered that and you do have a deep appreciation for yourself, ask yourself, how can you help somebody else do the same? That's my time for the day. In the meantime, persist, believe, and achieve.